let's talk about letting go. Now, you're just back from Edmonton, and this is an interesting, I think, conversation for probably some people, and some have had this experience. But ultimately, what we look at is that your mother passed away, was it 3 years ago now? Two
Yeah,
years?
September 2020.
2020, yeah, so 3 years ago coming up. And you're in Edmonton to see your dad, who's now 95 or will be 95
No,
in
he'll be
August.
94 in like a week.
Oh, okay, so
He's a year younger than your mom.
okay, got it. 1 year younger, so a little bit. Okay, so cool. Anyways, he's been on this planet a long time, and he's dealing with just getting old. And part of his journey of getting old, although physically he's very quite robust, although he's getting weaker in this age point, he's dealing with, and what you as a family are dealing with, or we as a family are dealing with, is dementia. And so this week was kind of a bit of a, I don't know what you'd call it, a little bit of chaos because you had to go into the hospital. You flew into Edmonton to support your brother, who is really the primary caregiver at this point. But it was really tough. And then you actually had to have this conversation with your dad, who's got dementia, who has dementia, has kind of those moments of clarity. So, anyways, this is your story. I just wanted to kind of preface the conversation. So, when you think about letting go, what does that mean for you?
Well, in this regard, in this particular scenario, is that okay? Are you okay if there's tears in this podcast? Because, you
Okay.
know,
You haven't
part of letting
started yet.
go, huh?
You haven't started yet. Don't
I know,
start
right?
crying yet. Okay, go.
I guess part of letting go is being okay and be willing to go through the conversations and have the scenarios and the situations where it's uncomfortable and it's not okay. And then for me to go to Edmonton, where we don't live there anymore. We live there half the time, and generally it's not in the winter. But my brother's there full time, and thank God, because after my mom died, if my brother had not moved in, I don't know what we would have done, because my dad is so physically strong. He golfed his entire, like, honestly, up until he was 88 years old, he was golfing his age. Every time he got a year older,
Mm,
he'd get another hole in one or something. The guy was amazing, and he's still so strong. But what's happening is, as life changes and things are going downhill in terms of his health, he ended up in the hospital last week. So I get home from Montreal, Toronto, I get on a plane, go to Edmonton, and he's in the hospital. And I start to go through the process of what would it be like without my dad? And what are my brother and I going to do without my dad? And I start in my meditation, start going through what it's going to be like. And it triggered sort of a letting go conversation with myself, is that what do I need to say? What do I need to do? How do I need to be in the presence of my dad and my brother, knowing that our life is going to change? I love my brother. This man, honestly, I've always loved him, but in the last few years, he has stepped up in a way that I've never seen a human being step up to take care of my dad. He got him out of the hospital. My dad is not going to go back to the hospital. He wants to die at home, which means we are getting him supported with home care, etc. And for me, as I step back, come home, hang with the dogs, start harvesting the garden, doing the things that we have to do to take care of our life, is that I have to create a bit of a disconnect and deal with the guilt of not being there. And I think part of letting go is being okay with feeling guilty and feeling that sadness, and knowing that there's going to be a life change for me, for my brother, for us as a family, for Aaron and the kids and the grandkids. And, grandpapa, great grandpa he is our patriarch, and when he goes, we have to also deal with what that's going to look like. And I think a part of letting go, and why maybe as a society or as people we don't enter the feelings of letting go, is because it's so painful. And what that could look like past the passing of my dad. and what our family's going to look like past the passing of my dad is going to be different. And being willing to enter that. And I don't know if that's a conversation that's normal. I don't know if many families actually get to that. And I think that over the last couple of months, my brother and I, for sure, you and I, for sure, have been in a situation where every time I'm in Edmonton with my dad, I want to say what I need to say. I want to do what I need to do. I want to be kind. I want to be a soft spot. I want to be able to hug him and snuggle in and just give him everything. Because when it's time for him to go, I want it to be peaceful and graceful, and for him to feel like it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting scenario, right, of letting go, because in the case of your dad, he's been physically healthy. He never really had any health issues per se. And, at this point in his life, he's actually going to make a decision to say it's time to move on. I think there's probably a permission point of it that he has to give. Like, are the kids going to be okay? They're going to be okay. I'm letting go. He's already stated out loud that I want to be with your mom.